Greetings and a warm welcome to all of you. The day has begun beautifully with yet another fulfilling task that connects us to nature and the wisdom of our ancestors. My wife is off to milk our cows, and with this fresh, wholesome milk, we'll prepare the tastiest, healthiest cheese. From milk to cheese, and now the most delicious cheese pie you can imagine, join us as we celebrate this ancient tradition. Milking is one of those timeless tasks that ties us to our roots. Back in the day, people relied on simple tools, often milking by hand and storing the milk in clay or wooden vessels to keep it cool and fresh. Preserving milk was a skill passed down through generations, whether by fermenting it into yogurt or turning it into cheese. It's incredible how these age-old techniques still bring us the most natural and nourishing food today. After milking, my wife carefully drains the milk through a cotton cloth. It filters out any tiny particles, leaving us with pure, clean milk, perfect for cheese making. In the meantime, I'll be sawing logs to keep our fire ready for later. And now, my friend, I have a task for you as well. Head over to our Instagram page where life gets tastier and more colorful with our delicious recipes. Who knows, you might just find inspiration to start your own little culinary adventure. And don't worry, following us doesn't require chopping wood. The fire is set, strong, and steady. Now, we place this heavy pot of milk over the flames to boil and to kill any harmful bacteria, and ready the milk for the next stage of transformation. Watching the milk rise and foam as it heats up is a satisfying reminder of how simple ingredients can lead to extraordinary creations. While the milk boils, I'm off to the yard to gather more wood. Did you know that humans have been consuming dairy for over 10,000 years? Archaeologists have even found ancient baby bottles with traces of animal milk, suggesting it was used to feed infants. It's amazing to think how this simple tradition has shaped our history and diets for millennia. And here we are, still embracing these timeless methods in our faraway village. Now it's time to separate the milk and add the starter, a key step in cheese making. The starter is made from live active cultures, often derived from fermented milk. These cultures ferment the milk, causing it to thicken and develop that creamy yogurt-like texture. It's the magic touch that turns fresh milk into the foundation of so many delicious dishes. Now, my wife is wrapping the buckets of milk and starter in warm blankets, creating the perfect environment for the milk to transform. This warmth helps the starter work faster, changing the milk's texture into something creamy and rich. People have been fermenting milk into yogurt for thousands of years. In ancient times, nomadic tribes likely discovered this process by accident, storing milk in animal skins during their travels. The natural heat and motion fermented the milk, giving it a tangy flavor and extending its shelf life. Over time, these techniques evolved, leading to the creation of yogurt and, eventually, cheese. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and become part of our family. It's the best way to thank us. Like the video, hit the bell icon, or simply leave a comment to share your insights after watching this episode. Your support means the world to us. The milk has finally transformed into a thick, creamy yogurt. Just look at that texture. Now, my wife is pouring it into a cloth. This step is crucial as it allows us to separate the liquid whey from the solid curds. With a little patience, these curds will soon become the base of our cheese. It's like watching a small miracle unfold before your eyes. An interesting detail. My wife has hung the cloth with the yogurt inside on a hanger, letting the whey slowly drip out from the sack. This yellowish liquid, separated from the curds during fermentation, is whey, an incredibly important byproduct. Whey is rich in proteins, vitamins, and minerals, and has historically been used in various ways. For instance, in some cultures, it's consumed as a health drink. With the whey fully drained, it's time to take down the sacks of curds and shape them into cheese. She carefully forms oval-shaped balls from the curds, salts them, and sets them under the sun for a bit. Technically, this is a traditional type of cheese, often referred to as white cheese or fresh cheese in Azerbaijani culture. Salting and sun-drying not only enhance its flavor, but also preserve it for longer periods, a method passed down through generations. Now she's mixing the curds with salt, an essential step in the cheese-making process. Historically, salting was one of the most common ways to preserve cheese before refrigeration existed. In Azerbaijani culture, cheese like this, often called shor, shepherds and villagers would make cheese during the spring and summer, preserving it with salt to last through the colder months. This tradition continues today, keeping alive the rich heritage of dairy craftsmanship. Now, time to place the salted cheese balls under the sun. Why? The sunlight helps the cheese dry and firm up. This step is especially important in traditional methods, where natural elements like sun and air play a key role in the process. As I haven't been directly involved in the cooking process, I've decided to make myself useful by building a brand new table for tonight's dinner. It's not the easiest task, but it's certainly worth the effort. Did you know that woodworking has been an integral part of rural Azerbaijani life for centuries? From carving intricate patterns into furniture to crafting tools, it's an art form that connects us to our roots. While my wife begins whipping up the dough for the pie, let me ask, are any of you lactose intolerant? It's a common issue today, but our ancestors developed a specific gene that helped them digest milk, especially in regions where dairy was a primary food source. Over generations, this adaptation became widespread among populations that relied heavily on milk products. Isn't it fascinating how our bodies evolved alongside our diets? My wife is making a soft dough for the pie, combining yogurt, some melted butter, and developed yeast, a simple yet magical combination. She's now adding an egg, which will give the dough a rich and tender texture. Dairy products have been cherished differently across cultures. In India, milk is considered sacred and forms the base of many sweets like kheer and barfi. In Eastern Europe, fermented milk products like kefir are beloved for their health benefits, especially for gut health. European countries boast rich cheese-making traditions, with varieties reflecting their regional identities. Here in Azerbaijan, we have a unique dairy culture too. Products like kadik, ayran, dovka, and shuzma are staples of our cuisine, cherished for their refreshing taste and nutritional value. From savory dishes to cooling drinks, milk has a special place in our hearts and kitchens. The dough is ready and has risen beautifully. It's time to work with it. And let me remind you to check out our shop. Scan the QR code to find an assortment of knives that will make your cooking process smoother and more enjoyable. The dough is incredibly soft and pliable, a joy to work with as it seems to merge with your hands. Historically, whipping up dough for pies has been an art form. In many cultures, pies were a way to combine simple ingredients into something special, often baked in wood-fired ovens or even clay tandoors. These ovens gave pies their unique smoky flavor. The practice of pie making is as old as ancient Egypt, where honey-filled pastries were baked for pharaohs, and it traveled through history to become a beloved culinary tradition across the world. Leaving the cheese in the open air allows it to develop a firmer texture, essential for grating. The exposure to air helps moisture evaporate, concentrating the flavors and giving the cheese a satisfying density. This natural aging process also allows subtle changes in taste and texture, making the cheese richer and more robust for culinary use. She carefully selects the firmest pieces of cheese and begins grating them. The cheese has developed a perfect texture, firm but not brittle, making it ideal for grating into fine, fluffy strands that will melt beautifully in the pie. As I continue assembling the table, I can't help but think about the craftsmanship behind my wife's pie making. Artisanship, whether in woodworking or baking, is a timeless skill, connecting us to our heritage. But today, such skills are becoming increasingly rare. Mass production has replaced handmade goods, yet it's the imperfections and personal touch that make handmade items, whether a wooden table or a pie, truly unique and valuable. She begins shaping the dough inside the round tray, pressing it into the base, then layering the grated cheese over it. Now she cuts thin lines of dough and carefully arranges them in a crisscross pattern over the cheese. When baked, this lattice will give the pie its beautiful checked design, a detail that not only enhances its presentation, but also allows steam to escape, ensuring a perfect bake. The table is ready and has officially earned its place at today's dinner. It stands sturdy and polished, ready to host countless meals and memories. This cheese pie will be incredibly soft and creamy, with layers of flaky dough embracing the melted cheese. The checked pattern on top adds elegance, enhancing its appeal both visually and in texture. It's a feast for the eyes and the palate. Let's brush egg over the surface of the pie to give it a golden glow once baked. Then sprinkle sesame seeds for a nutty aroma and subtle crunch. The final touches for the table include brushing lacquer over its surface. This step is essential. It seals the wood, protecting it from moisture, stains, and wear, while enhancing the grain's natural beauty. The result is a smooth, glossy finish that will preserve the table for years to come. And into the oven goes our pie. While the pie bakes, she grates more cheese and mixes it with hot water. As she stirs, the cheese becomes creamy, forming a velvety sauce. Finally, she adds freshly chopped dill, creating a tangy herbal accompaniment for the pie. Let's set the table for dinner. Plates, glasses, and all the elements of a cozy family meal. In between the work, we always find time for tea. Brewing tea is a ritual that brings warmth and connection to our day. Look at this beautiful golden glow. The pie is ready and the table is set. It's time to enjoy this cheesy masterpiece. Just look at this cut. The perfect layers of soft dough and melted cheese, each bite a little slice of heaven. A steaming cup of tea with jam complements the richness of the pie perfectly. The tangy jam balances the creamy, savory pie, while the cheesy sauce adds an indulgent touch to every bite. The pie is a triumph, a balance of crisp dough, gooey cheese, and that hint of dill in the sauce. Paired with tea and jam, it's a simple yet extraordinary feast. As the day draws to a close, we look back on a day well spent. From milking cows to crafting a new table, and finally this beautiful cheese pie, it's been a celebration of hard work and tradition. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to become part of our family. See you next time. Greetings, dear friends. Usually we meet at my house, but today I'm excited to welcome you to our local market. It's a lively spot where people from neighboring villages come to find fresh fruits, vegetables, and poultry. Speaking of poultry, that's exactly why we're here today, to find a delicious fatty goose to feature in this episode. I have a feeling that after watching this episode, you'll be inspired to visit your own local market. Go ahead and grab some freshly harvested veggies, and when you're done, you can thank us by subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. You know, my friend, and I think you'll agree with me on this, that local markets are more than just a place to buy fresh ingredients. They're a hub of connection. One visit to the market gives you more than just the fruits and veggies picked fresh from the field. It offers you a slice of community life. At one stall, you might bump into your old friend from school. At another, your neighbor. And before you know it, you're caught up on everything that's happened since the last time you spoke. Stall after stall, exchange after exchange, the market becomes a journey of shared moments. And as we make our way back home, the first to welcome us are our little bundles of fur. It's impossible to resist stopping for a quick scratch behind the ears. And you know what? When the snow falls, they become so playful, bounding through the drifts like children on winter holidays. The first flurry send them racing outdoors, tumbling and burrowing themselves in the snow with pure joy. One cannot but join them. In keeping with our traditions of artisanal and rustic cooking, my wife and I have decided to introduce something truly special today, a real relic from the Afghan nomadic tribes. These tribes brought a culinary gem to Central Asia and the Middle East, one that has stood the test of time, the Afghan cauldron. Alright, let me tell you a bit about it while feeding these fellas. So, if you Google Afghan cauldron, you will see a quite sturdy round-bottomed pot. There are some images on the internet where the cauldron is hanged over an open fire, and this is a proper way of using it as it serves perfectly for slow-cooking stews, pilafs, and meat dishes, giving you the rich, tender results we all love. As we get ready to slow cook this beautiful goose in the cauldron, it's important to have the right tools to bring out the best in our ingredients. That's where our knives come in. Crafted for durability and sharpness, whether you are prepping the meat, vegetables, or anything in between, these knives are your perfect companion. Scan the QR code and treat yourself with a different cooking experience. This passion for authentic quality cooking has shaped our approach to every aspect of our work, including these incredible knives. We're constantly on the lookout for unique artisanal pieces to create something truly extraordinary. And that search has led us to gems like this Afghan cauldron. But it's not just about the tools, it's about sharing these discoveries with you. For example, here's a fun tidbit. In many Afghan households, the cauldron is treated like a family heirloom, passed down from generation to generation. Some even believe that the older the cauldron, the better it cooks. Now that's a tradition you can taste. So, what makes goose meat so special? Well, it's a bit of a treat. It's richer and juicier than your average chicken. Kind of like the goose is saying, I don't do basic. The flavor's deeper, more complex, and when you cook it slowly, all that fat renders down, making every bite insanely tender. I know, fat sounds like a bad word, but trust me, when it melts, you'll immediately stop perceiving it that way.
Şey bir bol bilgisi.
Evet. Bu bir santi. Bu bir santi. Çek basra.
A generous touch of salt, pepper, and turmeric. Let's make sure to season it well, as the right amount of herbs and spices will really elevate the dish. By the way, if you are loving what you're seeing, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We're always sharing new recipes and a few extra tips and tricks to make your cooking just a little bit more exciting. And I think this is a great way to fill your feed with really decent content. These days, the flow of information is relentless and chaotic. You scroll through your Instagram feed and honestly, half the time, you don't even know what you're looking at anymore. It's a mix of ads, influencers, and random updates that make you stop and wonder, what am I really getting out of all this? It's easy to get lost in the noise. I really hope that our little slice of peaceful village life brings some calm and serenity to your day. That's truly our main aim here, to offer a break from the hustle and bustle, where everything moves at a slower pace. Now, as we continue with our cooking, my wife has already started prepping the vegetables. She's cutting them into big, hearty chunks, and this is key because we want to make sure that each piece holds onto its full flavor. If you cut the veggies too small, they might lose their integrity during cooking, but leaving them in larger chunks means every bite is packed with that pure, fresh taste. So the size of the cuts really matters. Here, we have sweet bell peppers, sun-kissed tomatoes, some carrots and potatoes. They're becoming a flavorful base, a cozy bed if you will, for our goose. We will layer them gently in the cauldron, letting them soak up all the flavors that will come from the goose as it slow cooks. It's like setting the stage for the main act. The goose will rest on top, infusing everything below with its savory juices, and by the end, we'll have a meal that's nothing short of magic. And just a little reminder before we continue, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It's such a small gesture from you, but it really makes a huge difference for us. Every like and subscribe helps us keep bringing you more recipes. Now, let's season the veggies with a nice pinch of salt, some freshly cracked pepper, and a few other spices to bring out their natural flavors. We'll add a generous drizzle of olive oil, and once everything is mixed together, my wife will begin layering the bottom of the cauldron. Let's go ahead and fasten the lid of our Afghan cauldron. Now, let me share a bit about how this pot works. The round bottom design is perfect for slow cooking, as it evenly distributes heat all around the dish. The lid, when sealed tightly, traps all the steam and moisture inside, ensuring that everything cooks in its own juices. Over time, the heat rises from the bottom and circulates around the ingredients, creating a gentle simmer that does all the magic for us. It's like a slow dance of flavors inside that pot. While our dish is cooking, I thought we'd take a moment for a quick tea break. I've gathered some wild rose hips from the garden. These little berries are perfect for brewing a fragrant, soothing tea. I'll combine them with slices of tangerine and a handful of pomegranate seeds. This mix will give our tea a wonderfully zesty kick. It's just the kind of thing you need when you've got time to relax and let the food do its thing in the cauldron. Let's have a break and enjoy something warm and comforting before the main event.
Hava kuma rahat kaçı, ciu boğaz.
When you pour that hot tea into the cups, you can immediately see the steam rise and fog up the glass walls. It's such a beautiful sight, the way the steam wraps around the edges of the cup, almost like a little cloud. There's something so satisfying about that visual, a promise of the warmth and relaxation that's to come.
İmza kalktı. Hazır iloji. Hatırıza gitse.
As we set the table, we also have some bright pickled peppers stuffed with cabbage. You might have seen the making of them already in the previous episodes. They make a great snack to pair with the wholesome meal, adding a nice tangy contrast to all the rich flavors we've been building up. And now, after all that slow cooking, the dish is finally ready. We're lifting the lid off the cauldron, and the aroma that hits us is nothing short of incredible. The goose, tender and golden, is resting perfectly atop a bed of caramelized veggies, soaking in all the juices. Take a look at this beautiful dish. Everything about it is inviting. The goose is golden brown, its skin perfectly crisped, glistening with that rich layer of fat that's rendered down into the most delicious juices. The smell is simply intoxicating. You can smell the earthiness of the potatoes and carrots, the sweetness of the peppers, and the deep, rich aroma of the goose. And when you plate it, the way the juices pool around the goose, creating a glossy sheen, it's a feast for the eyes as much as it is for the stomach. Let's adorn it with some fresh greens, parsley, cilantro, maybe a bit of dill. The vibrant green herbs will create a beautiful contrast against the golden brown goose and the rich, earthy veggies.
산티 이메카노하.
But before I dive in, I have a little tradition I always follow, sharing with my dogs first. They've been patiently waiting, their eyes locked on that goose, and they're as excited as we are. So, as I set their bowls down and watch them dig in, it's a reminder of how food brings us all together, whether it's at the table or sharing a meal with our furry friends. Now, it's finally time to sit down and dive into this feast. We gather around the table, and honestly, it's like the food starring in its own show. As soon as that first bite hits your mouth, it's like fireworks. The goose is so tender it practically melts. The veggies have absorbed all the goodness, and that tangy kick from the pickled peppers, it's like the unexpected punchline of a good joke. You weren't quite ready for it, but it just works. There's this harmony, this balance where everything comes together, and you realize this is the kind of meal that makes everything feel right in the world.
텔레비전 봐야 하네.
Well done, my friends. We can't wait to share another meal, another story with you next time. Until then, take care. Hello, dear friends. I'm so glad you've joined us here in this peaceful spot, where nature and a love for traditional cooking come together. Today, I'm making something a bit special: beef tongue. It's one of the most delicate cuts, incredibly tender and rich in flavor. I can't wait to show you how it's done, so let's get started. I'm giving the tongues a thorough rinse at the well. Cleaning them like this is essential to remove any lingering odors. To make sure they come out with a mild, clean taste, I'll actually boil them twice.
Göz almaz.
Güzel.
I'm going to make a thin cut right down the middle of each tongue. This way, they'll cook more evenly. Tongue is naturally thick and takes time to soften up, so this cut will help speed things up a little. I love working with beef tongue because it's not only delicious, but also packed with nutrients, full of protein, iron, and B vitamins that are great for boosting energy and keeping the immune system strong.
Yani Azerbaijani. Demek sigara karşı gelsen var ya.
While the tongues are simmering, my wife is getting the rest of the ingredients ready. We're going to boil the tongues a second time, and this time we'll add in some vegetables. The first boil removes any strong flavors, and the second one infuses them with wonderful aromas from fresh veggies.
İçine baksın yok dikişinden. Besiyle kasına parmak pesa.
After that first boil, we need to rinse the tongues once more to make sure they're completely clean. This way, when we cook them with the vegetables, they'll come out tender, mild, and full of flavor. As the broth starts heating up, my wife makes sure to skim off any scum that floats up. This keeps the broth clear so the final dish has a smooth, rich flavor without any unwanted bits. Time to add some vegetables. We're going with bell peppers, onions, and garlic. The peppers add a nice sweetness, onions bring depth, and garlic packs a savory punch. These flavors will slowly work their way into the tongue, creating a really delicious aromatic dish. And of course, I can't forget dessert. Today, we're keeping it simple with baked pumpkin and a sprinkle of sugar. Pumpkin has a natural sweetness and flavor that's so comforting and earthy. It makes a perfect rustic dessert all on its own. She's cutting the pumpkin into rectangular pieces and tossing a bit of sugar over them. Once they're in the oven, the sugar will caramelize into a sweet, crispy crust that makes each bite a little piece of heaven. Can you taste it already? While she's working on the dessert, I'll get some tea brewing. And hey, if you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to subscribe. Here, you'll find all the coziness of village life, along with some authentic Azerbaijani cooking. How do you like your pumpkin? Do you have any favorite recipes with it, or do you keep it simple like us? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your favorites. Now, let's take a little break to groom our friend here, our cow. Regular grooming helps keep him healthy and happy, with a clean coat and strong hooves. It's all part of farm life and caring for the animals who give so much back to us. Ah, yes. That's sea buckthorn for those who spotted it. This little berry is a gem. It's great for adding a bright citrusy kick to tea, or you can turn it into a jam or dessert that's as tasty as it is healthy. I can already tell from the aroma that the tongues have absorbed those flavors beautifully. Now that they've boiled, we need to peel off the outer yellow skin. Removing it gives us that tender, melt-in-your-mouth texture and keeps the flavor delicate without any bitterness. This is where the tradition comes in. In Azerbaijan, beef tongue has long been enjoyed for its rich taste and versatility. Often it's cooked with fragrant spices, vegetables, and sometimes even fruits. In some recipes, it's thinly sliced and served cold with herbs, or slow-cooked to develop that soft, buttery texture. There's an art to it, simple yet refined, that honors the meat's natural flavor. As always, the remaining bits of the tongue will go to our loyal dogs. They know they'll get a tasty treat today. Now she will cut the tongue into cubes and roast it. Just simple roasting brings out such a deep flavor. Sometimes the less you do, the better it turns out. You know what I mean, right? Let's keep it simple and let the natural flavors shine. It's been a while since I last had beef tongue like this, and I can already tell this will be memorable. Do you have any favorite delicacies like this? Share with us. We'd love to know. The tongues are roasting up beautifully. The caramelized edges bring out an even richer taste. Just perfect. My wife is adding some fresh onions now, which will add a lovely balance to the richness of the tongue. The onions bring in a little pungency and sweetness, and we'll add a sprinkle of dill for extra freshness. Maybe a pinch of coriander would work nicely here too. And finally, a scattering of pomegranate seeds for that burst of tangy sweetness. It adds a zing that completes the whole flavor profile. Of course, our furry friend will also enjoy a bit of this feast. We share not just our food, but our day with him. He deserves a treat too. I think a little plum cherry sauce will go perfectly here. The slight acidity and sweetness of the sauce would balance the richness of the tongue. It's the final touch to round out the flavors. Sitting down together, you feel the warmth of good food and good company. The flavors are bold yet comforting, and each bite reminds you of the day's efforts in the kitchen. The table is full, and you feel grateful for the simple pleasures. Dinner was unbelievably good, but we saved some room for dessert. The pumpkin is light and perfectly complements the richness of the tongue. It's sweet without being heavy, just right to end the meal. A drizzle of honey on top brings out the pumpkin's natural sweetness, and a handful of crushed walnuts adds a bit of crunch. Now, with tea in hand, we finish our meal. There's something so satisfying in sharing this, and as we sip the tea, I feel the peace of a day well spent. Thank you for being with us today, friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next episode. Welcome, citizens of the world, to the Azerbaijani culinary experience. Today, amidst this magnificent wintry scenery, we embrace the season with a dish that's bold, hearty, and the perfect companion for the cold. Over the years, we've brought you countless traditional and modern recipes. Today, we're diving into the world of a fish renowned for its luxurious caviar and legendary size. Let me introduce you to the beluga sturgeon. This isn't just another episode, it's a chance to witness the preparation of one of nature's most extraordinary creatures. As I stand by the stream, I gather some moss from the stones, nature's touch for crafting our bait. The dough-based bait is key for catching the mighty beluga. Why? This fish, colossal in size and appetite, responds best to heavier, substantial bait that matches its grand stature. The dough, with its texture and density, ensures the perfect lure. Whenever we've cooked fish on this channel, we've always paired it with a sour sauce. Today is no exception. My wife has handpicked ripe pomegranates from our yard, preparing to transform their juice into a rich, tangy, and flavorful sauce that perfectly complements the sturgeon. The beluga sturgeon isn't just any fish. It's the largest freshwater fish in the world, with the heaviest catch recorded at an astonishing 1,571 kilograms. Just imagine, nearly the weight of a car. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Witnessing the cooking of such a magnificent fish over a campfire is a rare spectacle. Hit that like button and the bell icon. It's that simple. The beluga sturgeon is an ancient marvel of nature, surviving through millennia and earning its place as the only predator among Danube sturgeons. Long-lived and resilient, these fish can exceed 100 years in age, their history intertwined with our waterways and civilizations. Once revered by the ancients, their massive presence was a testament to the strength of life in the rivers they inhabit. Now I'll set the fishing rod, securing it with a tree branch on the shore. Patience is key when fishing for beluga. It's not about rushing the process, but allowing the fish to take the bait naturally, a testament to its size and strength. The beluga's diet is as impressive as its size. While it primarily feeds on smaller fish, the larger specimens have been known to prey on aquatic birds. As the only true predators among their kind, they dominate their ecosystem with grace and might. As my wife works on the pomegranate sauce, let's talk about the nutritional benefits of this fruit. Pomegranate juice is rich in antioxidants and vitamins, boosting health while delivering that signature sharpness. Narsharab, our traditional Azerbaijani sauce, is known for its unparalleled acidity, a perfect match for today's dish. Narsharab holds a special place in Azerbaijani cuisine, steeped in history and tradition. It's not just a sauce, it's a cultural symbol, cherished for its depth of flavor and vibrant color. If you're not only here for cooking tips, but also to enrich your knowledge about the world around you, follow our Instagram page. dive into more delicious recipes and fascinating facts. Some reports suggest belugas can reach lengths of up to 8.6 meters and weigh as much as 2,700 kilograms, larger than many sea giants. At such a size, this freshwater behemoth surpasses even the enormous catfish.
Nou is het beurzen, ja. Haneş bezke zaman balığı da haneş. Bir gün bir.
Ja. Veel nodig.
Ya Allah.
Beluga caviar is famed worldwide, a delicacy that represents luxury and rarity. While its caviar commands a premium, the fish's meat often goes underappreciated. Today, we're exploring the delicious possibilities hidden within this giant's flesh. Though beluga caviar is scarce and expensive, the endangered status of this fish has elevated its value even further. Today, however, we won't be sampling its caviar. Instead, we'll uncover the culinary wonders of its meat. While I prepare the sturgeon, my wife has boiled pomegranate seeds and is pressing them through a fine sieve to extract their rich juice. Once filtered, the juice simmers over the fire until it thickens into a sticky, tangy masterpiece. She's now brewing Clover tea, a fragrant addition that balances the richness of our meal. Its subtle sweetness and warmth make it the perfect winter drink.
сейчас очапу.
Zaten zıngılat mıgliyen da hazırlıyorsun sayıs. Yok bu ya. Aman iyi kaynar çaydı.
Before cutting into the sturgeon, let's take a break and prepare ourselves. Such a magnificent fish deserves a thoughtful approach. The narsharab is ready. Look at its vibrant red hue, glistening like a jewel. My wife pours it into jars, setting aside a portion to drizzle over the fish. Now, I'm constructing the campfire setup, anchoring a sturdy metal rod into the ground. This rod will hold the hook, which will bear the weight of our sturgeon. As we reach the halfway mark of this journey, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support fuels our adventures and brings you even more incredible recipes.
Allah etmişsin. Ben öyle şimdi ben hocalar amzım ya. Ben öyle şimdi kızım.
Cooking a fish of this caliber requires the right tools. If you're dealing with tough scutes and thick skin, a high-quality knife is essential. Need one? Scan the QR code and explore our shop for the perfect blade. As I cut into the sturgeon, let's explore its anatomy. Knowing which parts to discard and which to keep is crucial for the best flavor. The scutes or bony plates are removed first, followed by trimming the less desirable sections. I begin by removing the tail and carefully extracting the notochord, a white rod-like structure that once served as the fish's spinal support. Next, I turn my attention to the swim bladder, an organ located near the fish's backbone that resembles a pair of lungs in appearance. This organ, vital for buoyancy control, is inedible and must be removed. Beluga meat is tender and flavorful, but it truly shines when seasoned well. I mix an aromatic blend of spices with olive oil, creating a liquid marinade that seeps deep into the flesh. I stuff the sturgeon with fresh lemons, pomegranate seeds, and aromatic herbs, sealing in moisture and enhancing its natural flavors. This method of cooking ensures every bite is infused with vibrant taste. The fish is now covered with a metal net, a crucial step that helps evenly distribute the heat while protecting the delicate flesh.
زي خجل ولا مو أنا خوزن يا الله.
The sturgeon hangs over the campfire, its silhouette glowing against the flames. I surround the barrel with hay and wood, lighting it to create an intense, consistent heat.
Santi, chcesz kubeki? Na się? Ma.
Look at this stunning campfire. The flames engulf the barrel, their warmth and light a mesmerizing dance. I can already imagine how succulent the fish will be. My wife slices red onions and drizzles pomegranate juice over them, a refreshing and traditional side dish that complements the fish beautifully. The barrel comes off, revealing the sturgeon, smoked, grilled, and ready to savor. Its aroma is mouth-watering, promising a feast worth every effort.
İyi ki bu.
I cut into the fish, revealing the filling inside. The blend of herbs, citrus, and pomegranate creates a symphony of flavors, each bite bursting with freshness.
Güzel. Santi. Ладно, втаем.
After such a long day of hard work, we've earned this rich, wholesome meal. The flavors, the setting, and the company make this moment truly special. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey in our faraway village. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. See you next time with another unforgettable adventure. Hello, dear friends and food enthusiasts. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're about to embark on a truly exciting culinary adventure. We're not just cooking something delicious. Oh no! We're preparing something utterly unique, a cow leg. And to make it even more special, we're going to cook it in a traditional old world method, by burying it in the ground. You heard that right. This cow leg is going to be buried like treasure, and when we dig it up, it will be nothing short of perfect. Let's head over to start working on the spot where the leg is going to have its good rest, all tucked in for hours until it reaches perfection, like a butterfly waiting to emerge from its cocoon. Since the cow leg is quite large, I'll need to dig the pit deep enough. I want to ensure the heat circulates and cooks the meat thoroughly from all sides, allowing it to absorb all that wonderful earthiness. I think we're almost there, but just a few more scoops should get us to the right depth. We don't want to rush things now. This part is crucial for even cooking. And of course, digging always works up an appetite. Let's take a brief moment to catch our breath before moving on. After all, it's going to be a long day. I need to check the measurements. Yep, it's perfect, just the right size to ensure the cow leg fits snugly, ready for its slow transformation into tender perfection. Now that we're done perfecting the bed for our leg, let's go ahead and fill it with some firewood. We want to make this bed nice and warm, ensuring the cow leg is cooked evenly and gets that fantastic smoky flavor we're after. I can already imagine the scent of the wood mixing with the meat. Now, time to give our star ingredient some love. Look at this beautiful cow leg. Once slow cooked, the meat will be incredibly tender. But before we proceed, let's give it a good wash. However, we need to make a few adjustments to prep the leg for its long journey underground. To ensure the meat becomes flavorful inside and out, my wife is preparing a rich marinade. For the marinade, we'll be using plenty of garlic, salt, pepper, paprika, and a good amount of vegetable oil to keep things moist. The garlic will infuse the meat with a pungent depth, while the paprika adds a sweet smokiness. We want every bite to burst with flavor, and trust me, it's going to smell divine. To make sure the marinade doesn't just sit on the surface, I'll make a few deep cuts into the leg. This way, the sauce will seep right into the meat, flavoring it from the inside out. Every slice will have that juicy, mouth-watering richness. We'll even stuff some garlic and rosemary into those cuts. The rosemary's earthy, pine-like aroma will complement the beef perfectly, while the garlic does its magic. Next, we're going to cover the leg with baking paper and then wrap it in aluminum foil. This helps seal in all those lovely juices, keeping the meat moist and tender as it cooks. The baking paper prevents the foil from sticking to the meat, and the foil will lock in the heat, acting as a mini oven underground. While the firewood burns down and creates a good bed of embers, I'm placing a bucket of water into the pit. As the water evaporates, it'll create steam, which will further help cook the meat gently, making it extra tender. Now, let's carefully place the cow leg into the pit. I've made a small hole in the ground and set up a wooden beam to suspend the leg over the bowl of steaming water. This setup will ensure that the meat hangs just right, absorbing heat evenly while staying juicy. I am covering the entire pit with metal sheets and tossing some soil on top to trap the heat. This creates an oven-like environment underground where the leg can slowly cook to perfection. The heat is now locked in and the magic is about to happen. Slow and steady wins the race. But who said we couldn't have something sweet before the main feast? My wife has decided to make a delicious peach pie, and trust me, her pies are to die for. Layering the peaches underneath the dough, it will allow them to caramelize as the pie bakes. This buttery syrup will coat the peaches, enhancing their sweetness and adding a rich, indulgent flavor. There's just something about the combination of butter and sugar that makes any dessert irresistible. As for the dough, we'll need butter, sugar, and then we'll add eggs, yogurt, and flour. The dough should have a smooth, creamy consistency so that it pours nicely over the peaches. This will form a light, fluffy crust that holds the soft peaches in place, giving you the perfect balance of fruit and cake. Let's carefully pour the dough over our beautiful peaches, making sure it covers them evenly. Now it's time to send this peach masterpiece into the oven. The batter will rise, becoming soft and fluffy while those peaches bubble beneath. It's going to be the perfect treat. And here it is. The peach pie is ready. I placed the peaches at the bottom, and now as we flip it onto the plate, just look at that pure golden perfection. The peaches have caramelized beautifully, their juices creating a glossy amber glow. While the pie cools a little, let's make some peach tea. I'm slicing a few fresh peaches and adding them to hot water, allowing the fruit to steep and release its delicate flavor. Just look at this cut. The pie is so soft and spongy, it's practically melting as we slice through it. The peaches are perfectly cooked, tender, juicy, and sweet, with a slight tang that balances out the richness of the dough. Such a delight to sit like this and share this wonderful peach pie with your loved one. The whole ambiance is just perfect. A slight breeze rustling the leaves with the golden hues of the afternoon sun. We've got our warm peach pie on one side with a pot of fragrant peach tea next to it. A memorable moment. But now, let's get back to our star of the show, the cow leg. After hours underground, it's time to unearth it. Just look at this beauty as it comes out of the earth. The meat is so tender that it's practically falling off the bone, and the aroma is absolutely mouth-watering. The slow cooking underground has infused it with all those smoky, earthy flavors, and the steam has kept it moist and juicy. Now, let's begin the feast. The cow leg is perfectly cooked, and I can't wait to share the result with everyone. Take some meat, my friend. You too. Enjoy this. It's a rare treat, and I promise it's worth the wait. This is absolutely wonderful. Every bite is packed with flavor. The meat is so tender, and it just melts in your mouth. The marinade has worked its magic, and the long cooking time has made the meat incredibly juicy. Thank you all for joining us on this culinary journey. I hope you had as much fun watching as we did preparing it. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and do leave a comment if you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, friends, happy cooking, and we'll see you again soon.